In next week's Parsha, Moshe is trying to convince God to forgive the Jewish people for the sin of the golden calf. He says, God, if you forgive them, great. If not, wipe me out of your book. Erase my name from the Torah. Although Moshe succeeds in his argument, at his lofty level of righteousness, once he says it, it has to come true in some fashion. And so God goes backwards 1 week to this week's Parsha, and he wipes Moshe's name out of this week's Torah portion. It's the only one in the last 4 books of the Torah, from Moshe's birth until his death, that his name doesn't appear. But what's the connection between wiping Moshe's name out of the Torah and saving the Jewish people? One commentator explains beautifully. This was Moshe's argument. God, you know why you put me here. You know my purpose. Even before I was born, you sent a prophecy to my older sister Miriam that our parents, who had separated so as not to bring another Jewish baby boy into the world to be killed by Pharaoh, would and should get back together. And as a result of that union, another Jewish baby boy would be born, me, who'd be the future savior of the Jewish people. Even the Egyptian astrologers looked in the stars and said to Pharaoh, on the date of my birth, the 7th of Adar, the Jewish savior is going to be born. And then when my parents placed me in the basket in the Nile, you had Pharaoh's own daughter save me. She defied her father's command to kill all the Jewish baby boys. And before raising me in Pharaoh's own palace, she adopted me and renamed me Moshe. Why? Because she said, Ki min hamayim mishi sihu, because I drew him out of the water. But if that was the only reason, then she should have named me Moshui, drawn out. No, she named me Moshe, which means to draw out, to lift up, to save. You know, I'm supposed to be the Jewish savior. That's my name. I didn't keep my Hebrew name. I kept the name Moshe, and that's the name you call me. That's the name you put in the Torah. If you don't forgive them, if you don't let me save the Jewish people, then I haven't lived up to my name. You'll have to wipe it out of the Torah. And God, in a sense, answers him, I imagine, with a divine smile. All right, Mr. Moshe, Mr. Savior, Mazel Tov. You've done it again. You've saved them. I'm going to forgive them. And each of us, right now, has to be a bit of a savior. I heard a talk from a rabbi visiting from Israel a few days ago, and his words are still haunting me. I keep replaying them in my head. He was talking about battle fatigue, not that of the soldiers in the Israeli army, our fatigue. After October 7th, Jews across the world mobilized, and we prayed and studied Torah and did mitzvahs and acts of kindness and sent tremendous amounts of charity. But since then, lately, we've been slacking off a little bit. But the soldiers are still at war, risking their lives. The hostages are still in captivity. The displaced families haven't been able to return home. We can't slack off. We have to fight through that fatigue and pray with more intensity and keep studying Torah and doing more mitzvahs and more acts of kindness and giving more and more charity. If we don't, this rabbi said, if we are right now the same people that we were on October 6th, or if we've gone back to our old schedules, then either we don't believe that our actions make a difference in heaven, or we don't care about our fellow Jewish brothers and sisters. We have got to redouble our efforts. Like Moshe, keep pounding and pounding on the doors of heaven, refusing to take no for an answer.